Perfect.
What's the motherfucking deal? Welcome to The Den. If you're not familiar with The Den is a conversation. I almost said a 420 friendly conversation. I'm going back in time and shit. Conversation, community, live stream, all that other good shit. Basically where you feel free to speak your mind on the topic at hand. I'm your host, Honcho. Tonight we will be talking about supporting women's sports. Is it bias or bored? And what I mean by that is ultimately women's sports, they don't get the same level of love as I'm trying to make it light, right? You know, light ain't looking right. They don't get the same level of love as men's sports do. I mean, that's just kind of obvious. That's excuse me, a for sure thing that I don't think you need any studies or surveys or anything of that sort to figure that out. And so what you hear from a lot of these feminists and people who are pushing for equality and SJWs and things of that nature is that it's unfair that men get paid more for their sports than women do. And you talk about the top notch, you know, women in whatever sport compared to the top notch men. Is it unfair? We'll talk about that. Is there a bias? We'll talk about that. Or we'll talk about the other hand, the opinion where some people say just women's sports are boring. And we'll discuss that. So before we get into any of that, we have to talk about which friends of the Den are joining us this evening. So we will see who is in the mix tonight. Somebody's already gotten timed out that quick. That old cornball shit. Let's see what we got going on. All right, see Mr. Rabbit and Jason S. were having a very good conversation with one another before the stream got started. Jaja Era, 335, what's the motherfucking deal? Baker Man, what's the motherfucking deal? Man Up, what's the motherfucking deal? And Kenneth, whatever name or in the mystery land, wherever you may be. That old lame shit. You're here too. So, man, we're going to talk about, like I say, men's sports versus women's sports. And I kind of want to clarify some things because I think that there are different levels to women's sports. And I think that there's a lot of angles that we need to discuss. And I'm mad because I think I misplaced my pen. Yes, but I have another. It's not my preference of pen, but hold up, maybe I might. That bitch don't look like I got no ink. We'll find out. If one of these don't work, then we'll use this bitch. So some points that I want to discuss as to why maybe men's sports are more profitable, maybe doing better in the monetary sense. And so we'll talk about all of that compared to women's sports. Now, I made a point a while back. You said, I think women's sports are entertaining, but if anyone has noticed, they use men's sports. Exactly, because they're not getting the visual that they want, so they got to go through. They got to promote on the other platform to get people to pay attention. Jackson, what's the motherfucking deal? And the reason why, I want to get into this is because there's an Adidas commercial, and I put it on the Instagram. And I think I've shared it in the Facebook group for the Den. And in that commercial, it's saying that, basically, it just makes it seem as though people are oppressing women in women's sports, and they're it's unfair and it's unbiased. It's a bunch of bias that they don't get the same love as the men do, and all of that stuff. I can understand where you're coming from at that. If you're playing the same sports, if you're playing a female version of a man's sport, I can understand that. You say, well, first and foremost, professionals, I don't want to hear shit because the goddamn college kids don't get paid. But no, but seriously, you talk about the women's U.S. soccer team, and I believe they said at one point they made more money than the men's team, and I want to say it's the Olympic team or World Cup team, whatever. But again, that only comes around once every 4 years or so. So I don't think that's a stable one to bet on, and that's probably like an anomaly because of the love that soccer gets, nationwide or worldwide, if you will, compared to others. And I mean, the U.S. women's probably have a more dominant team than the U.S. men trying to compete with the world. We already know where we are in that situation. So I can understand an argument for that one case, because if you're getting more eyes, if you're making more money, then it makes sense. But yes, exactly. And that's my thing. And that's what I'm going to get to. The thing is, ultimately, it's not that people are biased against women's sports, but if you're looking to see, what people want to see is the ultimate level of talent. And being realistic, you're not going to get that from most women's sports. Now, what you may get, and that's why I say I think it's a difference when you're talking about individual sports as compared to team sports. Because of the team sports, you're looking at the overall program, you're looking at the overall team, and you're like, well, if I could just watch, something over here and it's much more talented than this, then why would I watch this? I just have to absolutely have a love for the game, top to bottom, to really be concerned. So let's take women's basketball, for example. I could guarantee you that the best team, I don't know who it is this year, but whoever won state in Texas in high school basketball could give the best team in the WNBA a run for their money, if not beat them outright. And so my thing is talent-wise, and that's what it is, because you got dudes in junior high dunking 10-foot goals. You have 2 or 3 women in the professionals, maybe, and they're like 6'8", 9", 10", barely getting up there. You know, I remember when they had Brittany Griner and they were talking all that hype about her. They had to try to get her to do it on site. She couldn't even do the shit. You know, she's 6'8". I was dunking. I was in for me to consistently get it, I was in my freshman in high school before I could consistently get it. I got it like once on accident in 8th grade, but to the point where I could just do it standing like flat-footed and dunk a basketball. I was a freshman. Okay. Consistently, in some fucking jeans and some fucking whatever, easily. So if you got to watch a 6'8" woman struggle to dunk a basketball, it's not going to be interesting. The aggression, because basketball is not a super aggressive sport. Yeah, there's a little bit of physicality, but the aggression is coming when you dunk on somebody or when you shake somebody and they fall. And there's some women, not to get it wrong, there's some women that got some handles. There are. But again, when it's a lower goal and you're struggling to get that, you're not getting that action. You're not getting as much of that, you know, throughout the game. The way they shoot to some people, it's funny or whatever it may be, because, you know, you got to put a lot into it for the 3-point shot or for the long range shot. Again, and that's why I say your average high school basketball team could give the WNBA a run for their money. To the physicality ain't there in women's sports, but most don't watch it. And it's no female bad. What are y'all talking about? Cheryl Swooper. Yeah, they was back. The comments was the truth. You know what I'm saying? But again, even compared to that though, would you rather watch if the Comets played the Rockets, what would happen? It would be the worst thing that you've seen in a long time, especially at that time. But again, and then, okay, so I think that's one element of it. Again, like the athleticism is generally not there. If you're comparing men's sports to women's sports, now sports that are dominated by women, volleyball maybe, you know, we know why people watch the volleyball games. We know why men, if they watch it at all, it's for the shorts that protrude the butts. Being an ass man myself, I remember being in high school. I don't give a fuck about no goddamn volleyball. I would fucking go to them goddamn volleyball games and be fucking sitting there and acting like I'm enjoying it. I ain't doing nothing but trying to see all the ass I can fucking see. Let me see. My thing is, and the thing of, man, to capitalize on what Man Up is saying, I agree with what you're saying, because it was a little post I saw the other day. I want to say, was it Jay Dizzle? Somebody sent it to me, I think. And basically it was just saying that, I might have stumbled across it myself. It's not about not wanting to treat people, equal. It's about, you know, when everybody wants to be able to do everything, you lose uniqueness. You know, we lose the things that make us special. Would make men men, it would make women women. And so when you got women who go too hard or try to do too much to try to prove something, and a lot of times ultimately fall short, you know, we don't want to see you struggle like that, one. But two, you know, it blurs those lines, which are already blurred enough, and that's unfortunate. But, you know, I think when you talk about individual sports, and like I say, tennis, the UFC, you know, Ronda Rousey, they definitely set her up to make her look like something. A couple of women boxers out there. Again, we all know Venus Serena. Who was it? We were talking about Kornikova, talking about there was some very blurred lines back in the 70s, 80s. I forgot the chick's name, but she probably could have went either way. And so what I'm saying is that actually has nothing to do with it, because if you want to go consistently across the board, I mean, don't be upset that you're a woman and you physically, I mean, it's science. There's nothing to it. I mean, there's actual facts and figures. It's not interesting to watch women's sports. I mean, that's all it is. We can play the game, but the thing is, the reason what's going to happen with that game is you'll be the one that leaves upset because you have gotten emotional about it because you are a female. And I'm just going to laugh it off because it's not going to affect me in any way whatsoever. So the thing about it is, again, you look at the skill set. So you're talking about grown women playing a professional game, which is generally not as interesting as your average high school team. And so what you get there is you're not going to want to watch an inferior product. If you have the opportunity, you buy or you purchase more quality products. If you have time, attention is a form of currency. And so what you have is, if I'm spending my attention currency, am I going to spend it on an inferior product to watch something that is not as exciting? Do people want to watch the fucking, who was it? Who's been pretty bad this year? The Cards. If the Cards and the Jags were on, and the fucking, say the fucking Rams and KC are playing each other, then you can only watch one game. Of course you know what game people are going to watch. They're going to watch the one that has the more talent in it, the one that has more winning, that they feel is going to have more action in it. And I mean, it's just like that across men and women's sports. Now, when it's direct competition, like we say, the UFC, fighting, things of that nature, then, you know, it's a little bit different. We all want to see Serena win because she's been dominant in her sport. People love dominance. And there's not a lot of women who are just that dominant. People love Ronda Rousey because they believed she was dominant. And again, I'm not worried about Jews or hockey, so that has nothing to do with anything. And DeMarcus, I seen your little walrus comment at the end of the thing. Fuck you, nigga. But exactly. And so what I'm saying is, it's got to the point where people are excited to watch trannies fight in the UFC. I don't know. Maybe because they didn't think of it. They were too busy making rap music and trying to make record companies instead of trying to invest in the World Wide Web. I wouldn't say that. I would say I wouldn't say a lack of information. I would say a lack of direction. That's what I would say. No, you asked me the question, I gave you my answer. Genetics has nothing to do with it. It's proven you are physically weaker. At your strongest, you are an average high school football player strength. That you're at the very, very best. It's a couple of women. You'd have to be much bigger and much more stocky, unless you're like a Samoan woman or something like that. You don't really have too much of a shot. Now, you can develop skills and things like that that may benefit you, but it is what it is. Layla, exactly, Layla. Well known, and I don't want to say it's not even just off the strength of her pops. I mean, she was dominant in what she did. People paid attention. So, again, the Lingerie Football League. Now, the Lingerie Football League is a bit of a double-edged deal because, I'm going to be honest with you, the Lingerie Football League is it's eye candy. But the thing about it is it's actually good sports. It's actually good football. They're competitive. They're talented. And there's a benefit in watching. But if you actually watch, they get out there and they play pretty good football. But you take that and then you go compare it to the same as like if you had a choice. And again, we could talk about U of H and TSU. And these aren't even top tier programs or anything like that. U of H tries to flirt with the top, but then they always get the rug pulled from under them. But if you have a choice to go watch a U of H game or a TSU game, if you're actually interested in watching football, now if you just want to go fuck with some hoes and listen to a bunch of band music, of course, we know who goes to the TSU games. But if you're actually interested in watching football, you're going to go to the U of H game because of better quality of program. And that's ultimately what it is. The thing about it is, the talent is different. Yeah, I don't know. Heidi's just upset because she's upset. So she's trying to prove a point, but I don't think it necessarily fits. So, again, I didn't say anything about them being underrepresented because there's plenty of women playing plenty of sports across the board, but yet there's very few that have, if any, that have cracked into the male professional game. Why aren't there any female baseball players in the pros? Why aren't there any females? As many women that play basketball in these collegiate programs. Not one has made it to the NBA. Of all the, again, softball teams, why hasn't a woman found the skill set to make it to the MLB? Or the women's ice hockey teams? Why is that? I mean, don't you think if she was talented enough that people would take it? And so I'm thinking they would pick her up. If she's talented enough, if you're talented enough, it doesn't matter about your sex. At some point in time, somebody took Jackie Robinson and brought him in regardless of his race and the issues that were going on then. If you're good enough, people will do it. Plenty of women play football. And so my thing is, but yet none of them have been good enough to make it to the league. And so all I'm saying is, because niggas want to customize the autos, they don't want to make them. Because that has nothing to do. I mean, I don't know. That has nothing to do with me with those decisions. We're talking about situations that people are currently in. And again, you're bringing possible situations that have not occurred. We're talking about the situations that are actually occurring, things that are happening right now in this day and age. And I'm presenting you facts. You're bringing me situations that, why hasn't this happened? Why hasn't that happened? I'm talking about people who are actually in these fields who cannot do it. So will there ever be a female as athletic as LeBron? No, because unless she's juicing up on some steroids or something, you know what I'm saying? It would take, okay, but that's what I'm saying. But the thing is, no, there are no black automakers. I don't even know if there are any in Africa, but that has nothing to do with women who are actually in these fields who are doing the current job. They would be different if we were talking about, okay, why isn't this black automaker selling as much as Ford, or why aren't people buying their cars as much as Ford's, or even a Fiat, you know? But that's not what we're talking about. So my thing is, but like I say, my thing is this, and I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to be real honest with you. Maybe basketball is, I know San Antonio's trying to do it, but it'll be a novelty. But then the first thing that's going to happen is when a woman gets into these fields and she's not successful, or she starts losing, or she's not dominating fire, then it's all the sexism and all this stuff. Same way old buddy cried it was because he was gay that he couldn't make the fucking football team. So again, that's where I think you get into a real sketchy spot. And I'm not saying that they're not quality enough. I don't know about football teams. Again, like I say, I would have to see. I'd prefer someone with some experience. But then again, you got a lot of these fat ass coaches out here who ain't never looked like they ain't done nothing but, you know, practiced in theory. But again, you know, it's going to have to take somebody taking a shot on her. But as soon as it's not good enough, again, you're going to have a whole group of people behind it. Well, it's because she's this or she's that, not simply because she didn't do a good job. And that's where I think you get into a lot of dangerous areas with that. I'm not against women. My thing is, I want to know what could be done to make it interesting. The women are against me. The women are mad at me and claiming I'm bashing. I've done nothing but state facts. I've said nothing negative about women's sports. I've just said they're simply not as athletic. I talked about Brittany Griner not being able to dunk on command, and she's 6'8" when you're average. I knew niggas that was 5'9" that was dunking. Now, that's an anomaly. That's not likely. But anywhere from 6'1" to up, you should be able to dunk easily. And so, again, I'm open up here in about, how low we've been going in. I'm open up here in about 6 minutes. But so my thing is this. Like I said, that's what I'm saying. Thank you, Bro Lee, but I'm getting attacked because I've just said they're genetically, they don't have the ability to do things, but I'm a bad guy because I've said these things. And now it's about all kind of other stuff. And so again, the thing is, it's unfortunate, but what can be done? What can be done to genetically, physically superior to everybody in many ways? If men can, that's not going to happen. Because the first thing that's going to happen, whenever they turn the NFL, it might, because eventually they'll turn the NFL into the flag football league, and then that's when they will get in. But as far as women getting on the field, No, that's not gonna happen. Nobody's gonna want to deal with that. As soon as you fucking break the first woman's bones and all that, then they're gonna fucking sue you for domestic abuse or some shit. Then it's gonna be a wrap for your NFL career. It says start injecting women with steroids. That might be the thing, but then you have to allow PEDs. What's the motherfucking deal, Ray Ray? What's going down, man? How's the convo one? I'm trying to figure it out. I mean, because we're talking hypotheticals. Everybody's talking hypotheticals or why does it? I'm speaking about what's actually happening right now. And I've been getting attacked. I've been getting accosted for just reiterating the things that go on in today's society. A trampoline in the paint. So what about the day? So you're basically saying that they should play slam ball. You know? And that's the thing, man. You said we were slap a punk down until they got about 12 or 13. I did nothing. I mean, I'm opening up the den line here in like 3 minutes. And y'all can call in. It's always open to anybody. I do not judge who calls in. I don't even know who calls in half the time. And y'all can speak your piece. I let everybody speak exactly what they want. Heidi don't ever want to call in. She blames genetics, says her accent's too thick. So she can't call. So, I mean, y'all will have the platform here in 3 minutes. And y'all will be free to call in. I would love to hear what everybody has to say because I just want to come up with a solution because ultimately that's the thing. I talk about the little one. She plays soccer. And, you know, it's definitely going to take out soccer because just the way it is. I doubt that, you know, that's going to be a pro thing or a collegiate thing. But if she was to play basketball or any other sport, it's very unfortunate because for most women in most sports, college is it. Again, there's not a lot of opportunities outside of that unless they go overseas. And again, see, we have an international person here who knows all the layout of the world. You would think she would be able to give us some information regarding maybe how they're treated in other countries, how are women's sports regarded in other countries. But instead, she's gotten angry. Yet, instead of telling us, say females can have a dollar bill, can have a physical dominance, that's all there is to it. But my thing is, exactly, because eventually somebody has to move that shit. Yeah, that look, unless you fucking Professor X, that refrigerator ain't moving itself. So again, you know, my thing is this, man. All I'm saying is I would love for women's sports to be better. Because like I said, if the little ever got really good and she became talented at what she did and was able to make it somewhere, I would hate for college to be the end of it. For most women, that's a wrap. I talk about how I feel bad for a lot of women because now they're letting the trans people run as fucking women and shit. And so these women are basically getting leaned on. Why is that? Why is it that the trannies go into other sports and automatically dominate if it's not about anything else but genetics? You know what I mean? So all I'm saying is, you know, and running the world is important, but that's not the conversation exactly. Tonight, we're talking about sports and not mud wrestling. Where them dollars at? But here's the deal. All right. Here's the deal. All I'm saying is, how do we improve the situation? Because I think it's very unfair to women. Honestly, y'all are trying to paint me out as the bad guy, and I'm simply trying to find a solution, but I'm just stating the things that I observe and how we can level the playing field. A trampoline on the court sounds really dangerous. And again, some of those ladies are a little uncoordinated. I'd hate for somebody to trip and break an ankle or something of that nature. Do they lower the goals a little bit more to make it that much more exciting? You know, does that alter people's shots? Let me say, okay, you say female athletes that are in a collegiate level should be paid instead of going anywhere. But then that brings up Title IX. And so if you're paying the female athletes, you got to pay the male athletes, you know? And then I think that's when you bring up a whole can of worms, because in the majority of these collegiate programs, it's the football team that's paying for everything else, unless you're just a top tier basketball school. But the majority of schools it's the football program, even if it's not that good, that people are going to watch, and it's paying for the majority of the other sports programs. All right. The number, you want the number? Are you ready for the number? Bow. Here is the number. Call into the den. I want to know what y'all have to say. I want to know. What's the motherfucking deal? Who do we have calling into the den this evening?
What's going on, Hunter? It's your boy, Man Up here.
Man Up. What's the motherfucking deal, Man Up? What would you like to drop in the den tonight?
Man, I want to apologize in the beginning because what I might have to say might be kind of long on your topic. So
do you
if I go too long, feel free to cut me off.
All right, what you got?
But the funny thing is this here. I agree with you. It's like every time that guys try to say something, it's like we get shut down, and it's like we're not bashing, we're not bad mouthing. It's like you just said before you open up the line. It's like we're trying to figure out why is this. It should be fair because as me and you talk plenty of times on different topics, I preach fairness all the time. I would love for women, the WNBA, to get paid as much as the NBA players, but they don't. Why? I have no clue, but they don't. And another thing is this here. Me and my wife were talking about this one time before. It's like me and her wrestles almost every night, just joking around. We wrestle all night, every night. And she be whooping my ass almost every night. I ain't gonna lie about it. She do. It's just how it goes down. And we said we had the same kind of topic, I want to say like a month or so ago. Because when that first came up, I forgot what lady that was that won the WNBA MVP championship or whatever. Mm-hmm. And she was mad because LeBron had got this huge contract with the Lakers. And she's like, how come I don't get paid that much? And I hate to say it, but it's a true statement. The NBA has so many sponsors. They can afford, and all these teams have so many sponsors, they can afford to pay their players $100 million, $300 million contracts. The richest team in the WNBA, which I don't know what that is, they can't afford to pay their players $100 million, and it sucks, and it's not fair. It should be, but that's just the way it is. Why, I have no clue, but there should be some kind of middle ground here to where everybody gets the same thing if you're doing the same kind of same thing, And that's one thing that, like I said, me and you preach that a lot every time we do a den together. Fairness. And it's not fair. One way or the other, it's not fair. And another thing is this here, and you brought up a good point when you said that. You take a 6'8" lady in the WNBA and she can't dunk. You take a 6'8" guy in the NBA, he could dunk just getting on his tiptoes, basically. And that's kind of what it is. It's not bashing women. It's just stating an obvious fact, And that's just one. And that's just one thing. And like for example, I know there are some lady sports that women excel at way more than men. And I hate to sound sexist or biased, but it's the truth. Let's take volleyball. Now, how many men are successful in volleyball? Hardly any. And then when it comes, like you said, with soccer, yeah, that's a sport that women gets paid more money in than men. And what's his name? Not Odell Beckham. I can't think of his name. I can think of
David Beckham.
David Beckham. There we go. Thank you. He just retired, and he wasn't making as much as her last name was Hope. I remember that. He wasn't making as much money as her. Playing soccer.
Hope Solo?
So it's just one of those type of things.
Is that the name Hope Solo? Was that the one? I think the lady.
Yeah, Hope Solo. There we go.
Okay.
Yeah, Hope Solo. There we go. Yeah, I couldn't think of their names off the top of my head, but it's just one of those things to where, look, it's just gonna be it's gonna be one sided here and there, and it's not fair. It should be straight down the middle, but it's not. It's gonna be one of those type of things to where, look, it's gonna be more dominant over here if you go over here and do that, or it's going to be more dominant over here if you go over there and do that. And it's just what it is, and it sucks, and it's not right, it's not fair, but that's just what it is. It's plain and simple.
Okay. Okay. All right. All right. Well, that's a bet, man. I agree with some of the things you said. A couple of things I may disagree, but I'm gonna speak on it. But I appreciate you calling in there, man.
I appreciate that, man. Let me know what you disagree with.
All right, I got you.
All right, bye.
All right. So here's my deal, and I do believe in fairness in everything that's fair. But business is a different situation. I think that's what we get. Hold on one second. What's the motherfucking deal? Who do we have calling into the den this evening?
This is Unique Fashionista calling.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to kind of go off of what Man Up said. Yes, what he said has a lot. It's a lot of sense. It's making a lot of sense. But you got to understand as well. It is not the same playing field. Number one, women in the WNBA, if they had as much time to spend practicing on the court like men did, because that's their only job, then they could compete with the men of the NBA. The NBA men, that's their only job, so they get to spend all of their time practicing and perfecting their craft. Women, on the other hand, the WNBA, they don't even make a fourth of the amount of money that the men in the NBA make. So therefore, they have jobs outside of playing for the WNBA. Not only are they doing that, they're taking care of their families. So if you put all that into the equation, no, they won't be able to play to the same caliber as a man, but if given the same opportunity, they could. But let's talk about Serena Williams. You could put her against any man, and she would probably kill them on the court. Would you agree, yes or no?
I wouldn't say any, but the majority. I'd say the majority, but I wouldn't say just any.
Okay, but, you know, it's not the same playing field. So that's one thing. The WNBA will never be as popular as the NBA because just like what Man Up said, they have a lot more sponsors. There are more men fans in sports than women. So therefore, who would be the ones actually buying the tickets for the WNBA? So I don't think it has anything to do with them not being able to have the talent to do it. It's just the exposure and what society has put as an importance on. Women are not really, you know, taught to play sports. You know, that's not a big thing for a lot of women. They go into other fields that men cannot do, like modeling or whatever. So, I mean, everybody, they kind of have their place, but it's not the same playing field. So this is really not it's not a fair comparison to the conversation. What I'm trying to say. And that's all I want to say.
Okay. Well, thank you for calling in. I appreciate your call. All right.
Bye.
Adios. Okay. So some very good points were made about that. And that's definitely something that you do have to point out, that the women in the WNBA, they don't make as much, so they wouldn't have the same level of time. But where I go back to that is, if you go up until the point of college, and this is where I feel like things, you know, that's where they separate. If a woman is good enough, and she's good enough through college, she should go to the NBA. And she would have the same amount of time. What's the motherfucking deal? Who do we have calling in on the sauce line? The goddamn sauce line. The den line this evening.
What's going on, Honcho? This is Mr. Rabbit.
What you got, Mr. Rabbit? What would you like to drop in the den this evening?
Well, I just wanted to say, from my perspective, it's not that I don't find women's sports boring. I actually find them to be kind of pretty entertaining. It's that there are a lot of more sports out there that you could watch.
Okay. So, with that being said, if you have a choice, okay, what sports are you putting over watching, say, a women's basketball game? I would think that would probably be the most popular women's sport, I would assume. I may be incorrect. Soccer may be big, you know, internationally may be bigger. But, I mean, but why are there other sports that you would rather watch? Because, I mean, there's only a couple of main American sports. You got, you know, baseball, football. The MLS is trying to do something. You got basketball. But, you know, there's only a few main American sports. And then you have, you know, women's sports who are doing the same thing. So what sports are you putting over watching women's sports?
Hello, hello.
Hello, hello. Can you hear me? I don't know if we might have lost him there. I think he was faking the signal because he didn't want to answer the question. But again, you know, that he said that there's other sports. But I'm going to go back to some of the points that were made. I want to go back to what Man Up was saying about the WNBA, I think the MVP, and basically saying, you know, why didn't she make that much? And unfortunately, the reason why she's not making that much is because nobody saw her even say that, because nobody's watching. And ultimately, you're going to pay for where their eyes are. I mean, in the same sense as to why, you know, soft sports probably ain't getting the same love as I don't know, I'm trying to think of another sports, a big sports tuber, as whatever. But I mean, it's some of the bigger channels, because nobody, I mean, Texans fans are watching, but Texans are such a small fan base, and I'm not dissing anybody, and I love y'all, but I'm not going to get the same recognition because nobody's watching. So you have to make it that interesting. You have to bring those people in. And if there was a woman who was the LeBron James of women's basketball, I think more people would pay attention. What's the motherfucking deal? Who do we have calling in to the den this evening?
It's Edmund.
Edmund. What would you like to drop in the den this evening, Edmund?
When you were talking about the WNBA and how, you know, no one watches it, I think what people fail to realize is obviously they, you know, kind of been paying attention to what's been going on with the league, because they, you know, they got out of their CBA contract. So, you know, now that they're trying to negotiate a new contract because of the players feeling that they don't get paid well enough. There was a stat that said that on average yearly, the NBA actually lost profit around $12 million based on just supporting the WNBA. So it's not like the WNBA is even making profit. Like, it's actually hurting the NBA because of the fact that no one watches the league. A lot of the WNBA teams had to actually relocate to smaller arenas because, you know, these teams were playing in, you know, NBA arenas, and, you know, you couldn't even fill up 1,000 people. They had to relocate to smaller arenas where, you know, you could barely fit up to 5,000, 3,000 attendance. So I think it's not the fact that, you know, these women aren't talented. It's just that we as a society don't, you know, it's just not, they don't bring the same physicality, the same intensity, the same gifted ability as men do. And I think that's just the truth that many feminists or many females that are offended don't really want to hear.
Okay.
So that's kind of my thoughts.
Okay, man, and I can agree with some of those points there. So I appreciate you calling there, Ed. I'm gonna speak on some of that. I don't know what happens. I don't know why sometimes the call come in and y'all can't hear me later on. So I apologize if that's the thing. But here's my deal. You know, with all the feminists and the movements and the things, so why aren't more women going to these WNBA games? Because honestly, let's be realistic. A lot of it is, you know, people have been the historical value of a lot of these NBA franchises. Okay. So teams that have been around 30, 40, 50, however long, 60 years. And so certain people have been fans of these teams for a long time. The WNBA is still relatively new. Then you have, I think you kind of have that aspect of it. Then you have guys who are like, hey, I'm bigger than the majority of these people here. And let's be honest, not all. Let's be honest. And I'm not saying, oh, all guys are in shape and that they can outplay. I'm not saying anything like that, because I'll be talking about all that. But trust me, the majority of fans are out of whack and they live vicariously through athletes and all that other stuff. I acknowledge that. But I think it's that feeling like, oh, this person just has something that I could never do. And that's why people look up to athletes. And I don't think men necessarily look at women like that. You know what I'm saying? So, or if you're taking your son to a game, you're going to take him to see, you know, Brittany Griner or LeBron James. I don't know who else is. With Candace Parker, I think there's who's that, Sue Bird. It's a couple of females. Sue Bird got some handles. But again, you're talking about a smaller ball. You're talking about a lower goal. You're talking about all these other things that go into it. And so, if my child was to ever, if my son or something was, if I had a son, was to ever go and try to reach the highlight, he wouldn't be playing on that court. He'd be playing on a different court. He'd be playing on basically a bigger, harder arena in high school. Because you're talking about a 10-foot goal. I think the distance from the three might be the same or whatever, but it's a bigger ball. And so it's like, and this is what I'm saying. again, I'm not. Hey, you think Doc Rivers ain't buying all them tickets and sending the family to watch Austin? Hey, you got to keep his son happy somehow. But ultimately, again, like I say, I'm not trying to knock it. I really want to find a solution. I want to find an understanding. I would love to come to a conclusion on what could be done in women's sports to make them more entertaining or to bring in more masses. Because I feel like women, in the sense of fairness, like Muthaf says, I believe everybody should have a shot to live their dream. And so if these women have started playing basketball as little girls and they grow up to be this and to play the game, I think they should have a shot to make a living. You know, I think the best they're making is like $40,000 in the WNBA. What's the motherfucking deal? Who we got calling on the den line this evening?
Hey, it's your boy Josh again, man.
Josh, what you want to drop on the den line this evening?
All right, man. But as far as the women's sports, man, I, for one, appreciate women is trying to break the barrier and try to do stuff that people say they couldn't do. First it was basketball, first mainly it's football, now it's baseball. And they're making inroads and money is being poured into it, but no one's, paying to watch this because they don't see it entertaining. But I feel like there's one way to solve this problem.
Give me what you got.
I know it might be. I know when I say this, I know it might be demeaning to women, or I know it might be some women call it wrong. Just due to how society is, the only way to make people want to watch is if their money's involved. And the only way that happens is if there's fantasy involved, pretty much. Because honestly, I bet you if you make women's fantasy basketball, football, baseball, and everything else, trust me, people will pay to watch that.
Okay.
Because we seen the formula working for every other sport. I'm pretty confident if it was in the LFL, how I would do it, it'd be crazy. But that's what I was feeling. And also, finished watching that Bird Box shit. Yeah, that was trash. So, yeah, that's all I got to say about that shit.
Yeah, I got you. I'm telling you, it was terrible. But I appreciate the call, Josh. Very good point, man.
All right, man.
Man, I'm telling y'all, I thought he was finna go somewhere far left with it. And that's why I started laughing. I thought he was about to start talking about lingerie basketball league in this bitch or some shit like that, man. Oh, man. But that is, and again, the fantasy, that's definitely a thing. I'm not sure like how it works in gambling. I'm not big on gambling, but I don't recall. I've seen some gambling sites and things like that, and I haven't recalled. But you can bet on damn near anything. You can bet on horses. I'm sure you can bet on, WNBA and some other things like that. I'm sure there's prop bets and all kind of other shit too. But yeah, getting the money involved, I think that's a good one. What's the motherfucking deal? Who got called into the den line this evening? Hello. Hello. Okay, I'm not sure what happened there. Bet on the hoes like horses. See, it ain't LeBron himself, but I bet it's some ladies who think his pocketbook sexy. What's the motherfucking deal? Who we got calling into the den line this evening? Hello. I'm not sure. Let me make sure I ain't fucking it. Make sure it ain't on my end. I don't know if it is. If it is, call back. I'm trying to. Hello. Who we got calling into the den line this evening? Hello?
Can you hear me, Honcho?
Okay, now I can hear you. Yeah, okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that was me calling a couple times. I guess you couldn't hear me. I don't know.
Okay, yeah, okay, but
I was
good.
calling back on this topic because I don't know if you noticed, but in the chat, Unique if I'm saying her name right, Unique Fashionisha, I think I said her name right. She made a good point, and she was talking about ice skating, and that's really a sport that more women excel at than men. And that's kind of what I was kind of talking about. If you flip the script a little bit, like I said before, there's always some things out there that kind of one-sided, and both sides are going to look at it like, why is that, and things like that. But then also too, you had brought up something that kind of flipping the script just a little bit when you were talking about Michael Sam. He being gay in the NFL. And of course, you already know he got booted out because of that. They're not going to say that, but we ain't stupid. We know what it is. And it's kind of like, it's kind of like this well too. How come if he ain't doing nothing that's inappropriate, how come he can't play in the NFL? And that's kind of like the same topic here. It's like, it's not fair, and why is that? Why is it that he fail in it? It's kind of like what you're saying, why women's sports are not so stellar in this world. You know what I'm saying? So I just wanted to bring that back up again as well.
Okay. Well, I agree on that. Like I say, there are some things that women will excel at, and that it will be uneven. One thing I think with the Michael Sam thing, I don't think it was just necessarily because he was gay. Because I think if he was good enough and gay, because I mean they had several teams that let him, come into the locker room and try out. I don't think they were doing it for the PR. The thing about Michael Sam was this motherfucker had a whole fucking reality show lined up before he ever took a snap, before he ever went to an OTA or anything. And so he was trying to capitalize off being gay and going to the NFL. So whatever it was, he probably let a bunch of people get in his head and tell him to maximize the moment and try to capitalize on it. Because I look at Michael Sam like this. I've never in a draft, other than maybe a little peck on the cheek from their mom or maybe their old lady, I've never seen somebody sit there and fucking make out with somebody on the fucking the NFL. Michael Sam tried to make a debacle of the whole shit. This motherfucker had a whole makeout session with the little dude he was fucking with. And I've never seen that, straight or anybody else. So again, like I said, he tried to be the show before he ever proved that he was a pro. And that was my deal with Michael Sam, so but again, so I mean, but other than that, I think that I agree, as far as the, ice skating, figure skating, and things of that nature. So, but that's a very interesting angle. I'm going to speak on a little bit of that, but I appreciate you calling, man. All right, let me see what's going on. I don't know this. The volume got low on my end. Let me see what I got going on. Let me tweak the line here real quick. What's the motherfucking deal? Who we got calling into the den line this evening?
This is Tomas Rodriguez from Fresno, California.
All right. Give me 1 second. I'm trying to, there's something on my end. I guess I have I don't know why the volume got.
All right.
Okay. I think that's a little bit better. Okay, there you go.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. You said this is Thomas Rodriguez, right?
That's me, yeah. I want to talk a little bit on the subject. I've been trying to get on the soft line too, but I haven't been able to get through. So this is better than nothing. This is good. I like your show, good man.
All right.
Anyway, cool. I like I wrote on the chat. I think the women outnumber men, so they kind of got to do their part on this too. They gotta start paying the money, and women-owned business got to do the sponsorship to get these sports where they need to be. It just ain't on us. I mean, if our women are going to be supporting them and going to the shows and going to the meets and going to the to the games, we're going to tag along too and spend some money, right?
Yeah, it makes sense. That makes a lot of sense
to me. So that's my two cents on it. I'm gonna hang up because it's kind of choppy here. I'm gonna get back online and watch it online.
All right, man. I appreciate you calling in, Thomas.
No problem, man.
All right. Let me figure out why it got all janky on me all of a sudden. He was doing good, and it got crazy. But I think he has an extremely valid point. Come on, give me 1 second. I see we got a call. Come on, give me 1 second. What's the motherfucking deal? Who we got calling on the den line this evening?
Well, it's Wink, bro.
Wink, what's the motherfucking deal, man? What you want to drop in the den tonight, man?
Man, I've been sitting here and I've been listening to me and my wife, man. We've been listening and I asked her the question, you know what I'm saying? But, I wanted her to call in and drop all her little sauce, but I'm going to just drop mine right now because she's in some damn show on Netflix right now. But, let's ask a major question to the women who are in the chat. How many of you I know a lot of, I see Unique and a few others in the chat, clamoring and saying, they want this equality and should be able to do the rights, which you should do. But honestly, do you support? How many WNBA games are you watching personally? How many track meets are you watching? Like how much baseball and all of these other sports, how much gymnastics do you watch? How much swimming do you watch? I mean, more often than not, the prime time slots in those games aren't even available for you to watch. Like I've never, like, I haven't seriously seen a WNBA game, let alone a WNBA game even being mentioned on ESPN. The last time I honestly remember seeing anything being mentioned with the WNBA even on ESPN, like somebody talking about it, was when Brittany Griner was coming into the league. Outside of that, they don't even have the stardom they once had in terms of like the WNBA when they had Rebecca Lobo. They had household names, girls with talent. And let's be real, if you was from Houston, you supported the Common. You couldn't tell me you wasn't a Kim Parai fan, God rest her soul. You wasn't a Cynthia Cooper fan. You wasn't a Tina Thompson fan. You wasn't, Cheryl Swoops. Come on, bro. And then they was winning championships and making the H look good on top of what the Rockets had just did a year or two prior, winning back-to-back championships. So it's not that it doesn't have the same value as the NBA. You don't have the stardom to support the product. I mean, let's just be real. What names do you seriously have? I mean, they pretty much had Ronda Rousey as the face of UFC just a year or so until she was getting her ass busted because we all knew she was an unadulterated bum. She didn't have a real skill set, but because she was throwing people in arm bars and getting them out of there in 30 seconds because she was a media hype machine, and the moment that she steps up for competition, she predicted her own downfall when she lost to Holly Holmes the first fight. She dodged the shit. She ducked the shit out of Chris Cyborg. Her only real win was Miesha Tate, and she had 3 knockouts in 14 fights. Yeah. That's not, I mean, that's whatever, because that's a whole nother situation for another day as to why she gained the stardom that she got. But it's not even so much about the money. I think for women, it's just about the respect. I think they just want the same level of respect that men would get for the same work that they put into their sport. I think that's what women are really clamoring about, because it is so many other things that we can say ain't equal in life for us. Is the justice system in equal for men?
Well, no.
No.
I
mean, yep. So they talking about sports and we talking about real life. Well, men are suffering. Good men are out here suffering, and I'm not trying to make this a topic about this and that, but you get the gist of what I'm saying. Yeah. Everything, we all claim to want an equal society. Well, let's just be real. This society ain't equal. It never will be. And why are so many people clamoring for it when we all have roles that show that it won't be equal? A woman can't do the physical labor that most men can do on a construction site. You think a woman doing my job in IT is going to be able to hang up ladders, put up racks, and do a lot of shit where shit is like 100 and some pounds? You think she's finna be lifting up her ups? Nope. I can't even lift the ups without somebody's help. Another grown man helping me. So it's just like, it's not supposed to be equal entirely. Yeah, you have your responsibility as a man, because a man is supposed to be held to a certain standard and a woman is supposed to be held to a certain standard. We all have our walks and our way of life and how we're supposed to adjust and support each other. That's what it's about. It's about the support. And does the product prove that it deserves support? That's a question that the women in the chat, I want to hear them say. I want to hear another woman call in and say, and look herself in the mirror and say, do you even support what you're clamoring for? And that's my call, man. That's a real question. Man, how many of you supporting female boxers? How many of you supporting female UFC fighters? How many of y'all supporting female gymnasts? How many of y'all is, supporting female track stars? I'm just being real.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it really needs to be said, is how many of you support your own when it comes to this versus just saying, oh, it's not this way. I don't like the way this is. It's not that. It's not this. But then you don't even, buy into what you're really saying because there's no support for your own from the first place. But that's my call, Honcho. I appreciate you letting me call in.
Man,
I
damn.
love the way you got the den set up, bro.
Damn good call, Wink, man. You hit on several angles, and I'm definitely going to speak on that. That's a damn good call, man. I appreciate you calling in.
All right, man. I appreciate it.
Already. Very valid point. And I see Unique saying that she had season tickets, and my thing is, I remember when it was when I was going to U of H, I used to go support the women's basketball team. They were solid. I'd go to the games. I tried to fight Clyde Drexler at one of the games, goddamn. I went to that game. I didn't know anything. I went to the men's games. We wasn't fucking with them niggas like that. We wouldn't even let them niggas into the parties and shit. What's the motherfucking deal? Who we got calling into the den this evening?
This is Mr. Rabbit again.
All right, Mr. Rabbit, what you got there?
So to answer your question on what choices that I'd rather watch, it'd be football.
Okay, but what about women's football? There's women's football. They play, I think, generally during the off season when the men aren't playing. Is that something that you watch?
If I could find it, yeah.
Yeah, you should definitely check out the Legends Football League. It's no longer called Lingerie Football. Legends Football League. It's damn good football. And my thing is, like I say, if the talent is there, and I think a part of it has to do with marketing, honestly, how these things are marketed, and a part of it has to do with support. And I think that if women, here's my deal. If women supported women's sports as much as they support the Kardashians or the Real Housewives of something, these things would blow up overnight. You know what I'm saying? They would blow up overnight, and they would be almost, I wouldn't say they would equal or rival the men's programs, but they would get the same level of attention. They'd get the same level of sponsorship. But I don't think women as a whole just don't have that interest. And so, but I mean, I can understand what you're saying. So football. But again, like I say, so you have, but I'm saying you only have so many sports. Okay, you got football, baseball, basketball, soccer. That's generally what you got in America. You got, some offhand Olympics every now and then. And when the Olympics come around, I think women in Olympics get just as much love. I think the women in Olympics might get more love than men in certain aspects of it. But on a day that, is there a women's sport that you do watch? Maybe the communication is not going through there. But I appreciate the call, Mr. Rabbit. So like I'm saying, though, my thing, though, is this. Sauce line might be on some. Okay, there we go. Den line sauce line to me. I got to come up with a whole nother line name for this so it don't be mixing them up and shit. But here's my thing, man. Here's my thing, and I agree with what Wake was saying, is if more women, if the number of women who are hollering feminism, equality, and all this stuff, and I'm not saying that it's just about sports, but if they implemented that into, okay, hey, well, we're going to support our women by watching more women's sports, even if we don't get it, we'll get into it for the cause, then you would see these numbers start rising. Because I promise you this, advertisers are going to spend money wherever people are watching. Wherever they're watching. And T'Challa, I saw you say something about like watching them in the draws. That may be an added benefit, but they actually do play good football. I actually give them a lot of props because they wear less fucking shit than the niggas do. And they be out there hitting. Them hoes be hitting. Like, them hoes be out there playing for real. Like, they be talking shit, cussing. They be cussing the refs. They be out there for real getting it in. And but the energy level with the LFL is more exciting than the WNBA. If I had a choice between a WNBA game and an LFL game, I'd watch the LFL game all day because of the energy level. Even if they put on full pads and was looking out there looking like a bunch of receivers playing football, it would be more interesting because They get out, they compete, and they're aggressive. And that's what I fucking like. So let's see. You said I wouldn't be supportive of what I said anyway. What do you? What do you say? I just said that. You said I support all things that Wing said and I support. Or how I don't support you? How do I not support you? My thing is this. Again, y'all acting like I don't want to see the women shine. I talk about equality. I feel like everybody. Here's my thing. It's not that everybody should be equal. Everyone should have the equal access to opportunity. And so, yes, the women should have the same opportunity to make as much money as the men. But again, when you're not selling shoes, you're getting the sponsorships, when you're not getting all these excess things that come with it, you're not going to make that money. Okay. And it's unfortunate, but I would love to see them have that same opportunity. I would love to have them, for them to have the same opportunity. Again, I don't think anybody should be held out, But again, and like I say, I was telling you right before that call, I supported the U of H women's basketball team more than I supported the men's team. Excuse me. So, again, like I say, man, my deal is this, man. This is not about bashing. I know it can be perceived that way because I say a lot of things, but I mean, in all respects, it's always about equality. Now, it may not be what you want to hear. And sometimes I talk about things that I may not want to hear, things that may not be most favorable for me, but it makes more sense for all parties involved. And so my thing is ultimately, so let's see women succeed more than what they do, but for some reason they don't, because I think it's where women put their own personal attention. And the thing is, the majority of women, the overwhelming majority, don't give a shit about sports. Is it because society has told them that they need to look good and be housewives? No, because think about it. If as many women that try to be video hoes or strippers or love Cardi B's or anything like that gave that same attention to women's sports, those programs would be successful. They would be successful. But women don't care about that shit themselves. And you can't expect men to come and save a product when there's a better visual product to entertain, their senses. Okay, hey, look, these motherfuckers high flying, they dunking on each other. This motherfucker Harden and crossed the nigga up, or he dunked on a 7-footer. He did motherfucking me shot a 3 from 35 feet out or some shit like that, as opposed to 18 feet or 20 feet or wherever, the women's 3-point line is or whatever on a smaller ball. I mean, you can't blame somebody for wanting to watch a more challenging game with maybe better competition. Wink made a great point about household names. When he died, man, I mean, she went down the list. Like I say, Cynthia Cooper, Tina Thompson, all those, Kim Perot, like all these people were household names in Houston. They went back to back to back to back and still didn't get the love in the city. And that's unfortunate. Now you win, you the most winning program, in town, and you're still not getting the love. Why is that? The Rockets, in the same sense, you compare the Rockets to the Texans. Rockets don't get the love the Texans get. Motherfuckers don't even show up to Rockets games. You know what I mean? And so, you say, okay, so what should she do? Okay, I mean, and so that's what I'm saying, though. That's what I'm saying. The thing is, women can wear men's clothes. If LeBron got a jersey, a woman can throw a jersey on, it looks A-okay. I can't go throw on a fucking Serena catsuit and be considered legitimate. Everybody would unsubscribe. Niggas would not be fucking with the shit no more. They'd be like, yeah, I'm done with that Honcho nigga. He over there got the Serena catsuit on and all that other shit, again. So it is what it is. My thing about that is, is it fair or is it unfair? You have the ability to corner a market. You ain't not too many people challenging you for that. My thing is, shit, I hate most of the basketball shoes out there. I can't even find regular shoes that fit that I like. And shit, the only thing they do be having in my fucking size be some old corny ass basketball shoes. I ain't trying to have no fucking future feet. Motherfucking be looking like my feet in fucking 2050. It's only 2019 and shit, but my thing is, but why not? Why can't they? No, absolutely not. There's a lot of females that wear Jordans, and they be trying to make it and accessorize this, and I be thinking that shit be corny as fuck. Motherfuckers don't got no kind of athletic talent in their body, goddamn. Now, there are some butch women who do wear Jordans, but it's a lot of little bras. Like, they had a whole fucking site about women wearing bikinis and Jordans and shit back in the day. And so what I'm saying is that I don't think that's the same qualification. I think that's a different situation. It's just about how you wear it, how you rock it. So, you know, it is what it is. Stay in your lane. But I mean, shit, if you're good enough, I mean, let's be honest. Let's be honest, okay? One female athlete that you felt like would deserve a shot in a men's league. And like the unique call with the Serena situation earlier, I think that would be a great idea for women if Serena did challenge some men and beat some men. I mean, that makes people start paying attention. She should challenge the fucking men, because I know they had put her on a list and they had a bunch of dudes ranked like overall tennis players and things like that. And she wasn't getting any love. And shit, the tennis itself don't try to show Serena any love. Like the actual federation or whatever the fuck it is, man or woman or whatever, you know, they try to find a reason to dock Serena. She fucking had a kid. They threw it to the bottom of the list. And again, these are things we got to discuss too, because when it comes to women's sports, they have different things, i.e. being able to birth children. So, you know, you have to deal with that situation. Whether or not this woman decides she wants to take a time out and have a family. And then, you know, what does that say for her career? You know, if she chooses to do so. You know, or she plays a career like a man would throughout that time, you know, that biological clock is ticking. And, you know, eventually she's either going to want to have kids or she misses out on that. Heidi, to be honest, you didn't play in the men's league, and Katie, you were the men's bathroom attendant. We know what was going on there. The deadline's not calling. Y'all trying to call in. It's not giving y'all no love. Give me 1 second. Give me un segundo, por favore. Okay, here we go. Oh, okay. See, oh yeah. See, Rabbit broke the line, and it still got some of that other shit going on. Give me 1 second. All right, we'll reboot the deadline. Yeah, we gotta get some Cubans. These black miles don't be cutting. My boy brought me some Cubans the other day. Very enjoyable. If you had time for some more research, you blow it out the water. All right. We'll have the conversation again one day. Did I say we're gonna have a supernatural Saturday this week? So we probably talk about something wild tomorrow. We'll look into some of the far out shit. We'll talk maybe some UFOs. We haven't had the ghost conversation or the haunted conversation, especially with this Bird Box bullshit that has recently come out. You know, we'll discuss some things mañana. But all right, I can try again. The line should be back clear out. Let's see, I missed a couple of calls there. Just supernatural Saturdays, just whatever. Anything that is considered out of the realm of normal earthling shit. What's the motherfucking deal? Who we have calling into the den this evening?
It's Edmund again.
Edmund, how are you doing this evening, Edmund? What would you like to drop on the den line tonight?
So I had a solution to, you know, this problem with the, you know, females, and a way to get them more popularized in the society.
All
right. I feel like each team in whatever sport they're playing, in whatever league they're playing, should have a man disguised as a woman be a part of the team.
This nigga done Joanna man the situation. What? So you saying have a ringer in the the fuck?
I mean, for example, like there's a lot of talented basketball players, you know, men basketball players that won't ever make the NBA league. So I feel like, you know, having them, you know, put on a wig or put on makeup or whatever to make them more feminine can make the league more interesting, you know. And I feel like back in the 1930s, people, you know, you had women dressed as men just so they can participate in war. So I don't understand why, you know, we can't do the same in sports.
See, but then is that really benefiting the women, or is that just giving men more opportunities to invade a lane that they don't deserve? See, equality. I'm telling you, I'm all about the equality. I told you it's all about the ladies.
Well, I mean, it's like we're giving them a handout. So, you know, once they get to that top level, I see it as, you know, it's pushing these women to like, hey, maybe we should step it up, like to get to that level that he's on. And then once they get to that level, you know, you can start developing more the younger generation to play like, you know, at least close to what men are playing. Not, you know, athletically, but I think technique-wise, they can get to that level.
Okay. A very interesting conclusion that you came with it, man. But I appreciate it. We will definitely discuss. We'll definitely discuss that one.
I just have one. One more question.
What you got there?
If your daughter, or let's say not your kids, but let's say if I had a daughter,
okay,
and she was interested in playing sports, and I told her that, you know, it's not a good profession because you won't make a lot of money. Should I say, you know, should I prevent her from doing that, or should I do something in the lines of, you know, you probably won't make it, you know, the only way you'll make it is if you become a tranny or something. Like basically convert from a woman to a man.
Well, what's been going on with all the tranny talk lately, Ed? Man, I'm concerned. But my thing would be to say, not to kill anybody's dream, man. Tell her, you know, hey, to let her make it. But the same thing that you would tell any young man, hey, the odds of you making it professionally are extremely slim. You're gonna have to work extremely hard, and you know things are gonna have to pave out for you along the way. But you know, don't give it your all, but at the same time, you know, supplement your knowledge and have a backup plan. You know, don't put all your chips in it. Give it everything you got, but be prepared just in case it doesn't work out. And you probably, as a female, you're probably gonna have to supplement your income either way to make it. So I wouldn't kill the dream, but I'd just give her the proper information. I'd inform her the best that I could. That would be my suggestion. All right. Appreciate the call there, man.
All right, that's a bet. How are you, Brandon?
Damn it, he got me. I tried to stop him. Couldn't stop me. He hit you with the quick one. But my thing is this. Like I said, I'm not about killing anybody's dream. I want everybody to win. I want everybody to be successful. Let me see what we got. What's the motherfucking deal? Who we got calling into the den this evening?
Yo, it's Wink again, man.
Already. Wink, what you want to drop in the den this evening?
You know, this is a great subject to be talking about because it really shows the capacity of what people are willing to accept and what they're not willing to accept. What I mean by that is, I think it's very easy to point fingers at the other side of the sexes when things don't go a specific way because you feel that's what you deserve. But honestly, a lot of these women, do they have the talent that makes you feel that women should legitimately be at the top of the food chain when it comes to sports? Like when you look at dominance, like the only true dominant female athlete that we all know and love is Serena Williams. And I think she does it on a, not just just in terms of what her profession is, but she does it in a life prospect. She does many things for the community outside of other that speaks volumes. And I think she's the only true female star that even gives hope to other women to be better. I mean, don't you feel that way? I mean, what other female athlete is on her level or has ever been on her level? That's a real question.
Yeah. That's a tough one.
I mean, what is she's fought through everything. You know, she had to get past, she looks and she's from the ghetto and this and that. But her talent always was above anything else that she's ever done. And that's why she gets the respect and she gets the money and she has the marketing and she has this and she has that. And she's winning in life because she made it a point that you gonna respect her gangster. Yeah. No matter what. And how many other women that you can say in sports is doing that?
Good question. And another question I would throw on top of that is if she can do it, why can't anyone else do it?
More exactly. And if women and let's be real, let's go to an even deeper subject. Women really don't support other women in shit. Women are so territorial. Well, let's be real. If you ain't cheating on your man or getting caught up to do some fuck shit, what do women truly support other women on? Unless it's getting cheated on by your baby daddy, you dealing with some ain't shit ass nigga that you knew that wasn't shit from the get go. Like, what do women truly support other women on?
Well, that's a tough one.
You ain't getting no job. You ain't getting honestly, men support each other, and that's why we're better friends. A lot of women don't know how to be enough. They ain't got no. My wife will tell you she ain't got no fucking real female friends.
Yeah, I appreciate my own.
You know what I'm saying? And it's just as a whole, and it's not even just to point her out or anything like that. But let's be real. A lot of women, y'all don't really. It's for a lot of things. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about just from a life basis. Women don't really support other women like that. That's true. For real. I've been in the industry working with women, and I know how fake women are towards other women. You know what I'm saying? So if it's going to be like that in the workplace, why am I to believe that women are going to put that shit aside for a greater cause, like getting respect and equality for themselves in the national media, at home, or any other? Like, why am I to believe that?
Okay.
Because in order for me to believe it and for anybody else to respect it, you have to implement it first. So until women band together on all issues and put logic and reasoning into each and every situation and come up with a plan to ensure the fact that you get the respect that you want, you have to band together, and you can't do it with any malicious intent. And I think when that goes away, you will get everything you want in this life.
Man, I think you hit the nail on the head again, man, because it's funny you say that, because like I say, my old lady say the same thing. She don't got no real female type friends like that. So, right. So, I mean, I agree with you, man, and I think you made some very valid points on that one. Again, I mean, shit, and that's true.
I mean, you can say whatever you want. I mean, a lot of people may not agree, and it's always the false takes, because women always respect hearing the truth, regardless of how ugly and disgusting it may sound at first. At the end of the day, when she didn't had enough time to listen to the logic and understand that you have to have some sort of direction before you, because a lot of what a lot of people are saying in the chat is emotional. It's no real reason or logic as to what is being said. And what I just said was probably the most logical thing. And when you throw in what I said earlier in the call, what stars do you have that are going to go out here and motivate people in all of the sports that they're trying to get to? Who's the leader of the sports that you're trying to be the best at?
Exactly.
You don't have no Michael Jordan of FLS or of USC or all of these other sports. You know what dominant athletes that you had at every level? Dominique Dawes. She dominated gymnastics. FloJo and Jackie Joyner-Kersee. They dominated track and field. Serena is dominating. Serena and Venus are dominating together as sisters in tennis. And like the only dominant stars you had in basketball were in the 90s and retired around like 2006, 2007. Like the Cynthia Coopers of the world and those people like that, they ain't forgotten. Yeah. It's just that they didn't put their talent to the total max the way that Serena Williams did, and that's why most women look to her for anything, and they look to her for strength, and they wonder how she did what she did when she put it all on her back, and she knew what it took to do it because she had a strong foundation, and she knew who to listen to, she knew what moves to make, she followed through, and she didn't quit on what she was willing to achieve.
I agree. I mean, like you say, show me where the lie at. Now, y'all tell me where you lying at, because I don't hear no lie. I mean, that's all facts right there.
This ain't even about anybody thinking this is a man bashing a woman. See, man, come on, we way beyond that. At the end of the day, does a shark have to argue with a dolphin? Does a whale have to argue with a shark? Does an elephant have to argue with a motherfucking gorilla or a lion? I didn't think so. So when you already know your placement in life, and there is no true equality, because just those analogies and where I put it, can any of those animals, unless they gang up or they do everything in their power to bring their power down, what can they do by themselves? That's exactly what I thought.
That's what I'm saying. Like I said, I got nothing, no disagreements with that one, man.
It takes a million ants. You saw how many ants, you saw how long it took in Bug's life for them to realize that the number game would outnumber the fucking beetles before the beetles knew the mental edge that they had on the ants, and they knew how to defeat the ants because they knew they could be as brutal as they wanted to, and they could get whatever they wanted until the ants realized, man, there's more of us in numbers. We can beat these niggas. And it took one alpha ant that was a true peon throughout the entire movie. And he finally stood up and said, man, fuck this shit. Nigga, you need us. We don't need you. Yeah. And then what happened? They became confident, they rose together, and they defeated motherfucking Hopper and fed him to the bird at the end.
You heard me? I think that's the first Bug's Life analogy we had to do, man.
It's going to be the only Bug's Life analogy. It's going to be the only one. And you don't know about that unless you got kids or you grew up in the 90s. You don't even know about that.
Man, yeah, hey, you try to spit some high fire on the line, man. Y'all better soak that in, man. That's free game right there, man. Goddamn, look.
Yeah, man. I ain't had to tell nobody this. I could have kept this shit to myself. I feel more eyes need to be open, and there's more than one side to wink that he got. Already. Y'all gonna fuck with me? You gonna fuck with me the long way?
That's what's happening, man. Say, I appreciate the call, week, man. You did drop some fire on it. We finna speak on that, man, because I need some answers. And so we finna get us some answers, man.
You ain't finna get none.
I'm gonna try.
You ain't finna get none. You gonna try? Yeah, go ahead and try. And I'm finna sit back in the chat, put my phone back on the charger just so I can look at the comment section because I want to see what they gonna say.
Already, man. Appreciate another good one, man.
Already on another level.
Already. That boy came and dropped some heat on you. I mean, y'all don't know nothing about that Bug's Life, man. I wasn't expecting that shit. That day, but if you can, implement it into some real conversation, it is what it is. And here's the thing, and the thing about it, man, the point that he made that was just super fire, though, was about with women. Do women? Let's talk about that. That might be a whole den in itself, man. Do women truly support other women? I mean, really, do women truly support other women? Because let's be honest. I think Unique said something earlier that she similarly saying sounded like she agreed with. I'm sure Heidi's mentioned something in previous dens where she was talking about, other women folk on the job, you know. So I mean, that's two women right there. You know, he spoke on his old lady. I can speak on my old lady. She don't got female friends like that, you know. So again, is that where the problem lies? Like, you know, we talk about that you give the world a blueprint on how to treat you. So if you're not treating yourselves on that level, how can you expect someone outside the box to do it? But that's what we're talking about, like in the workplace. In the workplace, if you're not helping, if women are not trying to help other women succeed in the workplace, yeah, they may talk about it, you know, have these speeches and all this stuff. Yeah, they want that woman over there in another industry, you know, working in a whole nother type of environment. Not where they at. They don't want her to win because, like I said, I saw you need to say something about competition. But, you know, if the skill level is there, why can't everybody win? Why can't all of them win? You know? Top level, Game of Thrones, respective. Okay, so now see that's what y'all saying. So y'all said two kind of different things. See, because Unique said society men set the playing field like that, but then you saying at work is Game of Thrones, irrespective of gender. So it's about if you willing to play the game, regardless of the gender, you win. But it's cutthroat no matter what. But if it's really about women helping women, why ain't they helping women cut the other throats instead of cutting each other's throats? You know what I'm saying? So I hate on people who help me. That's my job. Doesn't mean I'm not hated on. And that's what I mean. That's my thing, though. That's what I mean. Like I say, I'm not. Look, ain't no hater over here. I don't hate women. Y'all be trying to say I be trying to bash them, but I never said anything negative about women a day in my life. Never. I'm just simply pointing out how things truly are. I've never said nothing that I hate women. I don't want them to win. I don't want none of that type of stuff. You said. I'm the same individual. I mean, I'm definitely an individual because I don't believe, I don't always believe that somebody else, and again, these are based on my personal life experiences. I don't always believe that someone else will have my best interest in mind. I've seen people use commonalities that we may have had or shared to use against me. But now is this saying that I don't have friends in certain aspects in certain areas that I know, you know, they got my back that's going to hold it down for me? No. But trust me, I believe it. And that's what I'm saying. But my thing is, front door food was its own thing. And I've talked about that story as it is. But my deal is, ultimately, that's on me, regardless if that should have been successful or not, you know, regardless of all the other factors. So, but my thing is, we're talking about women, we're talking about sports, we're talking about them getting the respect. No, it's not the same. You know, Postmates wasn't trying to take me out. You know, DoorDash wasn't trying to take me out. I guess that works too. But the thing ultimately, it wasn't about looking to that group. It was just it wasn't a case study, but it was just something that I noticed within that whole situation. But again, I can understand what you're saying, though. I can understand the correlation you're making there. But ultimately, like I say, you know, that's not the FDF, but I definitely need to put that into my lexicon. But again, ultimately, here's what I'm saying, though. And regardless of all this stuff that we're talking about, what I love to see women's sports succeed, what I love to see women succeed on the highest level, just like men. Yes. But again, there are also other factors. We can talk about genetics. We can talk about biology that will hinder women from seeing that same level of success. You know, what happens when your favorite athlete, even with Serena, again, like I said, I talked about when she had the baby or whatever, she was out for a while. As soon as she was out, as soon as they could get her out the mix, they tried to drop her down to 20th or something like that, or she wasn't as good as, you know, such stuff just because she went out and had a baby. You know, again, all kind of other little factors that will play into it. So my thing is this, though, ultimately, until women start getting behind their own and saying, okay, well, we're going to support women's sports. Because if men got a league to fuck with, why are they going to fucking fuck with it? I mean, why wouldn't they fuck with that? The fucked up thing, though, is that horse racing getting more love than the damn women's sports. Y'all got to step y'all game up. But ultimately, here's the deal. All right. because the den, it was good. There was some good den going on. Man, there's some damn good den tonight. So I definitely went longer than I anticipated because I was going to call it short because I was going to try to catch me some gym action late tonight. But you say at the end of the game, women love the men that love themselves. You know what I'm saying? That's ultimately what it is. My thing is, why aren't there? We got a lot of stuff going on in society. Why aren't there female groupies for females? You know, or why aren't there male groupies for females going to these events, these all-star games and things? You see it when they've had the little WNBA and NBA mixed up things. A lot of different things, like I say, just a lot of very interesting things. But here's the deal. Because I would like to go on, but I do want to go get my motherfucking me workout in. Man, I don't know. Like, it was my fault last night because I stayed. I was in the gym late last night, and so by the time I got out, Kristen was probably tapped out. So, you know what I mean? Man, this one, Jay Dizzle, I think this one here, you gotta go back to the beginning. This one was heat from the very beginning. I mean, Den line opened up about 30 minutes in, and it was heat all the way through. We had some first time callers come in, drop some very good shit. I mean, some very valid points. And like I say, I agree with Thomas too when he was talking about, women got to put the money behind their own. They'll go buy makeup products. They'll go buy all this other stuff because Kardashian said to do it, or whoever said to do this or do that. They'll support women in music. They'll support women in every other arena. Why can't they support women in sports too? Is it because women don't truly care about sports like that, or the women who do? Notice that somewhere in the middle of this conversation, I think Unique and Heidi were having conversations about the attractiveness of men in sports. So is that a double standard if men aren't interested in sports if the women aren't attractive? Unique called in. So and she had some very valid points. Heidi was wherever she is on this planet, Carmen Sandiego, cussing me out in German, calling me all kind of fucking, I don't know how they say nigga in fucking German, Scheisers and every other thing. She was doing all kind of shit. But again, like I say, yeah, definitely some very interesting calls. You definitely want to check that out. But here is the deal. I'm going to get ready to wind it down. I wouldn't say so much as wrecked, but it sounds good. We'll be back at it tomorrow in the Den. Den at 10, sauce at 7. Gonna have a real special sauce tomorrow, so make sure y'all tune in to that. It's gonna be some good sauce tomorrow. Be a good Den tomorrow. Like I said, we'll do. Like I said, we haven't done Supernatural Saturday in a while. It's gonna be the last Saturday of the year, so we will. No, don't believe the hype, Jay Dizzle. Unique, glad that you could join us. Always happy that you could join us. Always appreciate it. And all of you, I don't want anybody else to feel neglected either. I'm glad everybody could join us. Everybody called in, came through. You're always all appreciated. Except for Kenneth. I think Kenneth had to get blocked a couple times. He was on that bullshit. So again, like I said, I thank y'all for supporting the Den and coming through. But I'm gonna go ahead and get a little of this workout in. Maybe some mixer after that. It'll be some mixer after that. So it'll probably be I ain't got too much of a workout today. It's just this. What time is it? About 11:40. So I say probably about 12:30. It's 12:45. It'll be about an hour or so. So with that being said, I appreciate each and every one of y'all. Definitely gonna have to chop these calls up and drop them on the IG tomorrow. Y'all came with the heat tonight. It should be like this every night. Every night the Den should be like this. And since Kenneth isn't with us tonight, I'm going to give you guys a polite exit. I ain't going to kick y'all out the Den tonight. I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for coming through. And again, y'all be cool like y'all be cool. Tomorrow, same Den time, same Den place. I'm your host, Ed Honcho. Thank you, my friends in the Den. And I'm out. Who you with?